9 Signs of a Low-Value Woman. Protect Yourself. Old Stoic Wisdom. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting 2 bodies. Aristotle. Not all women are worthy of your time, attention, or commitment. Some will uplift you, supporting your growth and success, while others will quietly drain your energy, subtly diminishing your sense of self-worth, all behind a warm smile. The most insidious type doesn't come with warning signs. She doesn't wear her flaws on her sleeve. Instead, she hides them behind charm, beauty, and sweetness. At first, you'll think she's a gift, but before long, you'll realize she's a curse. In these relationships, what you think is love is often just an illusion. You might feel yourself losing focus, confidence, and inner peace without even knowing why. Here's the truth. A low-value woman isn't just not the one. She's a danger to your well-being. So how do you recognize her before you find yourself on a path of destruction? In this video, I'll walk you through 6 undeniable signs that say, it's time to walk away. Because real men don't waste their time or energy on chaos disguised as attraction. Hit like, subscribe to the Stoicism Win, and let's dive in. Sign 1. She thrives on drama and chaos. Some women can't seem to exist without constant turmoil. When things are calm, she feels uneasy, almost suffocated by peace. For her, silence and tranquility are not welcome. They feel hollow, unfulfilling. If there is no tension, she'll manufacture it, starting conflicts over trivial matters or twisting your words to make you seem guilty of things you never even considered. She might withdraw without warning, not out of hurt, but because she craves the reaction that comes with it. Your chase, your attempt to regain her favor. The most troubling part? She enjoys it. This is not about passion or excitement. It's about creating instability to feed her need for drama. You've likely heard her say things like, "I just like a little drama, it keeps things interesting," or, "If there's no fire, everything is boring." She might even call out, "Nice guys are just too easy." But let's be clear, this isn't passion. It's dysfunction. A high-value woman seeks peace over turbulence, clarity over confusion, and genuine connection over manipulation or control. A woman addicted to chaos, however, thrives in the emotional fog. She wants you unsteady, always questioning your actions, doubting your intentions. You'll start to feel like you're walking on eggshells, carefully choosing your words, second-guessing every move, all to avoid triggering an outburst or making her angry. This isn't love, it's survival. You're constantly adjusting to keep the peace, but at the cost of your own emotional well-being. The truth is, you don't need to be part of her chaotic world. You can choose to step away, to remove yourself from the constant emotional roller coaster. When you do, one of 2 things will happen. She will either panic and come after you, or she'll retreat and find someone else to blame for her problems. But in the end, you win because peace is not something you should constantly fight for. It's something you create by carefully selecting who you allow into your life. Peace should not be a battleground. It's a sanctuary, and it's your right to protect it. Remember what Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So by surrounding yourself with high-value people who bring calm, you elevate your life. Sign 2. She's addicted to validation. A woman who craves constant validation will always leave you feeling like you're not enough, no matter how much love, praise, or support you offer her. The reality is, she doesn't need your love. What she seeks is applause, the recognition of others. This need for approval isn't always verbalized, it's seen in what she does. Social media becomes her stage, and every post she makes, every photo she shares, and every caption she writes is carefully calculated to provoke curiosity, spark admiration, and attract compliments. It's not about sharing her life, it's about seeking attention, about positioning herself as the center of the spotlight. She'll justify it by saying things like, "It's just a picture. Why do you care? You're overreacting." But the underlying message is clear. I care more about the approval of strangers than I do about your respect or our connection. And this, my friend, is the real problem. A woman like this isn't interested in a deep, meaningful relationship. She's interested in performance. One foot is in your world, and the other is still fishing for likes, hearts, and the constant approval of anyone watching. She is constantly putting on a show, seeking validation from anyone with an internet connection. When you point this out, she'll deflect and make it about you, blaming you for being too jealous or too insecure. But no, brother, you're not insecure. You're just paying attention. You're recognizing what's truly happening. You're not the one who's blind to the truth. She is. A high-value woman, the kind of woman you should be investing your time and energy in, doesn't need the validation of the world. She doesn't seek the praise of strangers to feel good about herself. She is secure in her own skin. A woman of high character doesn't measure her worth in likes, comments, or online reactions. She measures it in the strength of her values, her integrity, and the respect she earns from the people who matter most, the people who are close to her. The approval she seeks is not from a distant, faceless audience, but from the man she values and respects. She doesn't need the attention of 1,000 followers to feel validated. She needs the respect and admiration of the man who knows her best. In short, her worth is defined by her inner strength, her character, and the quality of her relationships, not by the fleeting, empty praise of the digital world. Here's the brutal truth. If she is constantly seeking validation from strangers, she will never truly value what's real, including you. The more she seeks external approval, the more she distances herself from genuine connection, from what matters in a true relationship. And the longer you stay with her, the more invisible you'll feel. You'll be trapped in her orbit, competing not just for her time and affection, but for her attention. Not just against you, but against every like, every comment, and every notification. And let's face it, how can you ever compete with that? As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The opinion of others is the opinion of others. It is not for you to measure your worth by their eyes." Let that sink in. Your value is not defined by what other people think of you. It's not defined by how many hearts she gets on her posts or how many followers she has. Recognizing this pattern is the first step. If she's always looking for approval from everyone else, she will never fully appreciate what's right in front of her. And if you continue to let her live in this cycle, you'll only get frustrated, hurt, and lose sight of your own value. You'll start to feel like you're just one more follower in her online world, another person she needs to impress, but you are more than that. You deserve more than that. Your connection should be based on respect, trust, and shared values, not on the transient and shallow admiration of people who barely know her. So, here's what you need to do. Recognize the signs, break free from the cycle, and take control of your own value. Do not let yourself be another player in her search for attention. Do not let her distractions diminish your own worth. It's time to demand more. Time to stop settling for being a backdrop to her online performance. A high-value man doesn't put up with a woman who values external validation over real connection. A high-value man knows his worth, and he won't waste time on someone who doesn't understand the true meaning of respect and appreciation. Take a stand, brother. If you've been in a relationship with a woman who lives for the likes, the comments, the followers, you need to reevaluate your place in her life. Make no mistake, you are not her accessory. You are not a supporting player in her show. You are the main event, or you should be. Protect your peace, your time, and your emotional energy. Sign 3. She has zero accountability. A woman like this will make you feel as if you're constantly walking on eggshells, navigating a world where nothing is ever her fault. In her eyes, every problem that arises, no matter how much it affects you, somehow gets twisted into being your responsibility. She makes decisions that lead to chaos, like lighting a fire, dousing it with gasoline, and then stepping back to point at the smoke as if it's something you created. Whether it's her cheating because you were distant, her disrespecting you because she was angry, or her financial struggles being blamed on her ex, or even the economy, it's a relentless cycle of deflection, without a hint of self-awareness or introspection. There's no growth because she refuses to take a hard look at her actions, leaving her stuck in the same loop. What makes this particularly dangerous is that, over time, you'll become her go-to excuse. She'll twist every problem to make it seem like you are the cause. And the worst part is that you might begin to believe it. You might start doubting yourself, wondering if maybe you were too distant or if you overreacted. But the truth is, the issue lies not in you, but in her inability to take responsibility and face her own reflection. A high-value woman, on the other hand, doesn't dodge responsibility. She owns her mistakes, learns from them, and grows. She doesn't waste time shifting blame or creating excuses. A high-value woman understands that personal accountability is key to growth and connection, and she doesn't play the victim. A low-value woman, however, builds her life on a foundation of excuses, and the real danger here is that if you stay in that relationship, her lack of accountability starts to infect you. Her problems become your problems. You carry her weight, her guilt, and her unacknowledged mistakes. You'll find yourself apologizing just to end an argument that you didn't even start. This dynamic takes a heavy toll on your peace of mind, draining you emotionally and mentally. You cannot heal someone who refuses to admit they're even wounded. Sometimes, walking away from someone like this isn't giving up. It's choosing your own peace over the constant cycle of blame and guilt. It's a tough decision, but it's necessary for your own well-being and growth. Remember, no one can grow in a relationship where accountability is absent, and no one should have to bear the emotional weight of another's refusal to face their mistakes. Don't let her excuses dictate your reality. Choose to walk away and prioritize your own peace and emotional health. If you've had enough of being blamed for someone else's actions, it's time to take a stand. Drop a comment right now. I own my power and my peace. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, accountability is the foundation of true growth. Don't let anyone take that from you. Sign 4. She uses emotional manipulation to control you. There's a particular type of woman who, rather than raising her voice or engaging in an overt argument, still gets exactly what she wants, often through the power of emotional manipulation. She doesn't need to yell or demand. She simply plays with your emotions, turning your logic and reason into a distant memory. Over time, you may find yourself feeling guilty for things you didn't do, for emotions you didn't cause, and for boundaries you had every right to set. This type of manipulation is often subtle at first, making it hard to identify. She may give you the silent treatment after a minor disagreement, act hurt when you make plans without her, or say things like, "It's fine," while her body language and unspoken energy scream something entirely different. You begin to question your actions, wondering if you were too harsh, too selfish, or too demanding. This is the trap she sets. Instead of demanding with words, she manipulates through silence, passive-aggressiveness, and sadness, creating an emotional fog where clarity is absent, and your guilt becomes the tool for control. As a result, you might find yourself constantly second-guessing your decisions, cancelling plans, or changing your behaviour just to avoid the discomfort of her disapproval. And this is where you make the mistake of feeding into her manipulation. Each time you give in, you reinforce her control over you. You send the message that guilt works as a tool to get what she wants without having to ask directly. Over time, you'll realize that this is not love. It's not a partnership. It's a manipulation disguised as affection. A high-value woman, one who truly respects herself and the relationship, operates in an entirely different manner. If she's hurt, she expresses it. If she wants something, she communicates her needs directly. She builds connection through honesty and clarity, not through passive-aggressive games that create confusion and doubt. In contrast, a woman who uses guilt as leverage isn't interested in building a relationship based on mutual respect. Instead, she's seeking to control you, turning you into a puppet whose strings she pulls with every emotional shift. Imagine this scenario. You tell her a week in advance that you'll be hanging out with your friends on Saturday. She responds with, "Sure, have fun." You feel at ease, thinking everything is fine, but when the day comes, her energy shifts. She becomes distant, and when you ask if everything is okay, she responds, "Yeah, Go ahead and have fun. I'll just stay home alone. Now you feel like the bad guy, as if you've abandoned her. You may even find yourself debating whether or not to cancel your plans, not because you genuinely want to, but because you can't bear the guilt that comes from her silent disapproval. If this situation resonates with you, let me tell you, that's not love. That's emotional manipulation disguised as affection and concern. It's a pattern that can persist only if you allow it. As a man, you must learn to recognize these tactics and stop feeding into them. You have to be the kind of man who refuses to bend under the weight of emotional silence and guilt. If something is bothering her, she needs to communicate it clearly, not leave you guessing. And if she chooses to stay silent or play games, you have to live your life regardless. You must create peace not by giving in, but by walking through discomfort with strength and integrity. A stoic man, grounded in self-respect and clarity, understands that the only way to build a healthy relationship is through direct communication and mutual understanding. He chooses freedom over control, clarity over confusion, and, most importantly, strength over guilt. To live in this way requires a mindset rooted in Stoicism, choosing to act according to your values rather than being manipulated by external forces or the emotions of others. It's a powerful shift in perspective that allows you to avoid the emotional traps that some people, knowingly or unknowingly, set for others. Emotional manipulation is not a healthy form of love or intimacy, it's a toxic form of control. It's important for you to recognize when this dynamic is happening in your life, so that you can stand strong and not be swayed by guilt or confusion. And remember, as Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In the same way, the best response to emotional manipulation is to stand firm in your sense of self, refuse to be manipulated, and continue to live with integrity, no matter the emotional games played around you. Now, think about your own life. Have you ever found yourself feeling guilty for something you didn't do, or being manipulated emotionally by someone close to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about how to recognize and protect ourselves from these subtle forms of control. If you found this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on how to protect your peace and integrity. Comment to remember: emotional manipulation is not love, it's control. Sign 5. She has no long-term vision. A high-value woman operates with purpose, planning for decades ahead. Her future is something she shapes, nurtures, and builds. She invests in her personal growth, her financial health, and the man who can walk alongside her toward mutual goals. She doesn't leave things to chance. She strategizes, evaluates, and takes steps today for the life she wants tomorrow. Meanwhile, a low-value woman exists solely in the moment, with no regard for what's coming. She's impulsive, driven by the thrill of temporary highs, allergic to discipline, and avoids structure at all costs. She talks about enjoying life, but that enjoyment is superficial, without roots. Her sense of fulfillment is always external, always temporary, never grounded in anything solid. It shows up in the details. She never has a budget, but somehow she's always spending money she doesn't have. She drifts from job to job, yet her career never goes anywhere. When asked about her future, she shrugs and says, "I just go with the flow." But the flow never takes her anywhere significant. She's a victim of life circumstances, constantly blaming external forces. My boss is toxic, my ex ruined everything, the system's rigged. But when she looks in the mirror, the real problem is never there. She'll complain about her lack of progress, but will never take ownership of the choices that got her there. Now, here's where it gets critical for you. If she can't lead herself, if she can't steer her own life, she won't be able to build anything with you. You'll become her plan B, her backup, the financial cushion for the storm she's creating. At first, her lack of planning might seem refreshing. She's spontaneous, adventurous, always ready for a new experience. Late-night clubs, last-minute trips, a weekend getaway on a whim. And yes, it feels like freedom at first. But dig deeper, and you'll discover she's drowning in debt, constantly lamenting her financial struggles while mocking the very idea of saving. She laughs at responsibility. Why worry? You only live once, she says. But here's the truth. Living once is exactly why you should live wisely. Without structure, without foresight, her life is chaos, and you're caught in the middle of it. She has no clear direction and will never be the one to help you create yours. In fact, she'll slow you down, pull you into her uncertainty, question your vision, or worse, lean on you for the stability she refuses to create for herself. Relationships need more than just love. They need alignment, shared purpose, and a commitment to the long term. Without these, love crumbles the second life throws a challenge your way. Here's the bitter truth. If she's afraid of commitment in her own life, to a career, to her growth, to her future, she won't be able to honor commitment in yours. Commitment isn't just about relationships. It's about everything. A woman who has no commitment to her future, no discipline and no goals, can never truly share in the commitment required for a strong relationship. And you? You deserve someone who sees the future as something to conquer together. You deserve someone who is as invested in the journey as you are. Now stop and think for a moment. Have you ever found yourself dating someone who avoided responsibility in their own life, but expected you to carry all the weight? Have you been left holding the bag when it came time to take action? It's a trap, and you need to recognize it. Don't fall for it again. Take a step back, think critically, and protect your future. Because a relationship without a shared vision, without discipline and structure, is doomed from the start. Make no mistake, you are the sum of the people you choose to surround yourself with. So make sure you're investing in someone who can add to your life, not take away from it. A wise man once said, "You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore." So ask yourself, is she the shore you need to leave behind to reach your true potential, or will she keep you anchored in place? If you've ever felt that weight, that constant pull of someone who has no long-term vision, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't let that weight sink you. Take action, set your boundaries, and never settle for less than the alignment you deserve. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're ready to protect your future and share your thoughts on how you've dealt with relationships that lacked vision. Let's build a community that pushes for growth, stability, and clarity in every area of life. Sign 6. She doesn't respect masculinity, she competes with it. A woman who values herself understands the strength that comes with a man's confidence. She doesn't view his grounded nature as a threat, but rather as a stabilizing force, one that provides leadership and protection. She recognizes that there is beauty in his ability to lead, and in the quiet power that comes with being secure in oneself. However, not all women look for a partner. Some are on the lookout for a power struggle. Instead of supporting your masculinity, she seeks to challenge it. Rather than complimenting you, she feels the need to compete. Her every argument seems geared towards winning, not understanding. No matter how calmly you attempt to lead, she pushes back, not out of a desire for equality, but because she wants control. The situation becomes all too familiar. You might say, "I'll take care of it," only for her to retort, "I don't need a man to do anything for me." Or when you step into your role as a leader, she accuses you of being controlling. Set a boundary, and suddenly you're toxic. In her eyes, you're not showing leadership, but rather overstepping, imposing, or threatening her. This isn't a simple matter of different perspectives. It's a deeper issue rooted in her inability to accept your masculinity for what it truly is: strength, not domination. The deeper truth here is that a woman like this doesn't simply resist masculinity, she resents it. Her resentment might come from a past filled with betrayal, or from growing up in an environment where men misuse their role and power. Perhaps she's been taught, either by her experiences or by society, that power isn't something to be shared, but to be seized. Whatever the origin, the result is the same. She won't let you stand in your full masculinity because she's afraid of what will happen if she isn't in charge. This dynamic creates a toxic cycle where you, as the man, might start to shrink to accommodate her insecurities. You might soften your voice, doubt your judgment, or second-guess your instincts, all in an attempt to avoid triggering her discomfort with your presence or leadership. But what you must remember is that true masculinity, the kind that is rooted in discipline, purpose, and honor, is never toxic. It brings order to chaos, direction to emotion, and safety to uncertainty. The problem isn't your masculinity, it's the misplaced insecurity of the woman who feels threatened by it. You weren't made to apologize for being a man. In fact, your strength is meant to lead with honor, to create a solid foundation in any relationship, and to offer guidance when necessary. The woman meant for you, the one who values and respects you, won't see your leadership as a threat. She'll trust in it, support it, and find peace in your grounded nature. Because a real relationship, one that thrives and grows, isn't about a constant tug of war over control. It's about two people pulling in the same direction, each supporting the other in their own way. If you find yourself constantly feeling like you're in a silent battle, with your presence being seen as a problem rather than a source of strength, it's time to reassess the situation. You don't need a rival, you need a partner, someone who complements you, who values you for who you are, and who doesn't view your masculinity as something to fight against. If you're shrinking to fit into someone else's version of a relationship, then you're compromising who you are. Real relationships aren't built on compromising your identity for peace. They are built on mutual respect and understanding. In modern life, it's all too easy to fall into these traps. We live in an age where power dynamics are constantly at play, and the idea of equality can sometimes be confused with the need to overpower one another. A healthy relationship, however, isn't about who's in charge or who holds the most power. It's about shared responsibility, understanding, and respect for the unique strengths each person brings to the table. In today's world, where so much is expected of both men and women in terms of emotional intelligence, career success, and personal growth, it's easy to forget that the best partnerships are those where both individuals can stand confidently in who they are without fear of being diminished by the other. So, as you reflect on your relationships, ask yourself, have you ever found yourself shrinking your masculinity just to keep the peace? Have you held back your leadership to avoid conflict? If so, this is a sign that it's time for a change. There is nothing wrong with being the man you were meant to be. A Stoic man doesn't apologize for his strength. He uses it to build, to guide, and to create a path for both him and his partner to walk together. It's not about dominating. It's about leading with honor. The woman meant for you will recognize this and will stand beside you, not against you, in the journey of life. If this message resonates with you, like and subscribe to the Stoic Spirit for more insights on navigating life with purpose and strength. And think about it. Have you ever felt like you had to shrink your masculinity just to keep someone comfortable? What did that experience teach you about the dynamics in your relationships? If this message spoke to your heart today, leave a comment about faith. I'm a high-value man. Sign 7. She prioritizes short-term gratification over long-term growth. A woman who constantly seeks instant pleasure without taking into account the long-term consequences often signals a lack of vision for her future. Whether it's through overspending, indulging in unhealthy habits, or avoiding responsibilities, she chooses short-term satisfaction over sustainable progress. In life, it's important to enjoy the present, but if she focuses solely on the now, neglecting the necessary steps for building a solid future, it reflects a fundamental lack of foresight. She often acts impulsively, unable or unwilling to consider how her decisions might impact her health, well-being, or relationships down the road. This addiction to fleeting thrills seeps into her relationships too, where she lacks the patience to invest in a meaningful and deep connection. This impulsivity creates a barrier to lasting intimacy, as emotional bonds require time, effort, and emotional maturity. Contrast this with a high-value woman who knows that the road to true growth, both in her personal life and in her relationships, requires discipline and the ability to delay gratification. She understands that sacrifices made today, whether in personal habits or in relationships, lay the foundation for a more fulfilling and sustainable future. A high-value woman is willing to put in the hard work now to secure a better tomorrow, knowing that real happiness comes from the slow, steady building of something meaningful. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela once said, and a high-value woman embodies this resilience and foresight. In contrast, the woman who prioritizes the moment above all else often finds herself in a cycle of temporary satisfaction but long-term dissatisfaction. While there's nothing wrong with enjoying life's pleasures, real growth comes from understanding that true rewards are earned, not handed over in the form of instant gratification. Life teaches us that what we sacrifice today, whether in time, effort, or self-control, often returns to us tenfold in the future. This principle is rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom. What we do now echoes in eternity, as Marcus Aurelius once wisely put it. His words encourage us to embrace self-discipline, delay gratification, and build our futures on strong, thoughtful decisions rather than impulsive desires. Moreover, this is not just about avoiding unhealthy behaviours or overspending. It's about developing the mindset that long-term growth requires consistent, thoughtful actions, and that we must occasionally endure discomfort to secure a better future. This type of woman values the process of growth, and as a result, her relationships are also rooted in stability and long-term vision. She takes the time to nurture her partnerships, cultivating trust, communication, and mutual understanding. She knows that these things cannot be rushed and that the most meaningful relationships are built over time, not in the heat of fleeting moments. Sign 8. She is not open to constructive criticism. A low-value woman's most significant flaw lies in her inability to accept constructive criticism. She reacts defensively to even the most gentle feedback, turning it into an attack on her very character. Instead of recognizing criticism as an opportunity for growth, she sees it as a judgment that threatens her fragile sense of self. This defensive reaction isn't just a momentary outburst. It's rooted in deep insecurity. She refuses to confront her flaws, and when you try to help her improve, you're met with resistance, anger, or passive-aggressive behavior. She deflects, shifts the blame onto you, and turns the conversation around to accuse you of being the one with the problem. It's as if her ego is too fragile to withstand even the smallest mention of her weaknesses. The inability to handle constructive feedback is a clear indicator of emotional immaturity. A woman who can't accept criticism cannot grow. She remains stagnant, trapped in a cycle of self-deception. Such women fail to see their flaws because they are too fearful to face them. This lack of self-awareness erodes the potential for building a meaningful relationship. The foundation of any strong, healthy partnership is built on growth, both individually and together. When one partner cannot accept constructive criticism, the relationship is bound to face roadblocks. Growth is a continual process, and without the ability to reflect and adapt, both people are stunted. A relationship with a low-value woman is one where emotional intelligence is lacking and personal growth is nearly impossible. Contrast this with the behavior of a high-value woman. A high-value woman does not see criticism as an attack, but as a tool for self-improvement. She understands that growth is a continuous process, not a destination. She welcomes feedback, however difficult it may be, and uses it to refine her character. She doesn't take it personally because she knows that self-awareness and emotional maturity are essential to becoming the best version of herself. As Maya Angelou once said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty." The high-value woman embraces those changes, knowing that transformation is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Her willingness to confront her flaws and learn from them is what allows her to become stronger, wiser, and more capable of fostering meaningful connections with others. The truth is simple. Emotional maturity is a non-negotiable trait for anyone looking to build a lasting relationship. If you find yourself with a woman who cannot accept feedback, you're wasting your time. It's only a matter of time before that defensiveness erodes the trust and respect you once had for each other. And this isn't just about a single argument, it's about the pattern. A woman who can't take feedback is not just refusing to improve herself, she is refusing to grow with you. A relationship built on stagnation is doomed from the start. A low-value woman might look good on paper, but when she cannot look at herself honestly, the cracks in her character will eventually show. The same way a strong tree cannot grow without strong roots, a meaningful relationship cannot grow without the foundation of mutual self-improvement. A woman who cannot evolve will keep you trapped in a cycle of frustration, defensiveness, and emotional stunting. On the other hand, a high-value woman will make you feel like you're both on a journey of improvement together. She will listen, absorb the feedback, and apply it with a humble heart. She won't see it as a threat, but as a gift. And she'll encourage you to do the same because she understands that a partnership built on growth, respect, and learning from each other is the only way to truly elevate both individuals. So let me make this crystal clear. When you find yourself in a relationship with a woman who cannot handle criticism, it's time to reassess. Life is too short to waste on someone who refuses to evolve. If you're serious about building something lasting and meaningful, you must choose a woman who has the strength to face the truth, to grow, and to walk with you toward a better future. Never settle for less. Demand growth, demand emotional maturity, and above all, demand honesty in every aspect of your life, especially in your relationships. Choose the woman who will help you rise, not the one who will drag you down. Sign 9. She constantly drains your energy. Being around a low-value woman often feels like you're trapped in the eye of an emotional storm. Instead of providing the emotional uplift that helps you grow and thrive, she seems to take from you endlessly, leaving you feeling mentally and emotionally exhausted. Every interaction feels like a demand for attention, reassurance, or emotional labor, but when the roles are reversed, there's no effort to give back or support you in return. The emotional toll she takes from you isn't always obvious at first, but over time it becomes clear. You'll notice how your energy wanes after spending time with her, how you feel mentally drained and emotionally hollow, as though your needs and well-being are an afterthought. Her constant neediness, her inability to find satisfaction, and her lack of reciprocity leave you questioning your self-worth as you start to feel like your value only matters when it serves her. It's a toxic cycle that often wears you down without you even realizing how deep the depletion goes. In contrast, a high-value woman is a wellspring of positive energy and emotional support. She balances your life rather than disrupts it. When you're with her, you feel supported, valued, and encouraged. She doesn't just take, she gives, nurturing your emotional health as you nurture hers. Her presence lifts you up and motivates you to be the best version of yourself. You'll find yourself feeling energized and inspired after spending time with her, instead of feeling exhausted and unappreciated. A high-value woman's emotional investment in you is just as significant as your investment in her. There's an unspoken harmony where both partners contribute to each other's growth and happiness, creating a dynamic of mutual respect and support. She knows how to replenish you emotionally, leaving you both fulfilled and stronger for it. This is something to consider in your relationships. If you consistently feel drained after being around a woman, it's time to step back and reassess. In modern life, where everyone has a lot on their plate, it's essential to surround yourself with people who nourish your spirit, not those who drain you. It's not just about love, it's about maintaining your emotional health and well-being. Don't mistake dependency for affection. Real love, real connection should inspire and uplift you. If you feel like you're constantly giving and not receiving, it may be a sign that you're with someone who does not bring value to your life. Remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Self-preservation and inner peace should never be compromised for the sake of an unhealthy relationship. Choose a partner who contributes to your strength, not someone who diminishes it. All right, that wraps up today's discussion on the 9 signs of a low-value woman and how you can protect yourself using the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. It's crucial to remember that value isn't just about external appearances or how others treat you. It's about your inner strength, your boundaries, and how you choose to respect and invest in yourself. The Stoics were all about focusing on what we can control, and your self-worth is one of the things you have complete control over. Don't let anyone, no matter who they are, make you doubt your value. Stay aware of these signs, but also stay grounded in your own identity, and never lose sight of what you truly deserve. Set your standards high, and don't settle for less than you know you're worth. There's no room for toxicity in your life when you're aligned with your own principles. And remember, don't stop here. Check out the full playlist for more insights that sharpen your mind and strengthen your spirit. Whether you're looking for advice on building stronger relationships, improving your mindset, or just need that extra push to keep going, there's a lot more to discover. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong, stay grounded, and never settle. Keep working on yourself, because the best version of you is always worth striving for.